Are you tired of feeling tired? Are you struggling with vitality? Or does your body just not feel great? Join today's hosts Monique Bradley and registered naturopath Lynette Hill to talk about your health. It's Health Bites, bite-sized pieces of health and wellness information so you can own your health.
Hi, welcome to today's Health Bite. I'm Monique Bradley, and in the studio I'm joined by the amazing, very talented naturopath, registered naturopath. This is Lynette Hill from My Remedy. Hi Lynette, how are you doing?
Hi Monique, hi everybody.
Now, it's a big time of year where a lot of people are reaching out, maybe they're heading to their GP and they're being prescribed antibiotics, which do a lot of great things to help fight bacteria. But I know a lot of people I've chatted to online have also been talking about other side effects associated with antibiotics. So today, we thought we'd share with you, if you've been taking antibiotics, here's some things you need to know. Today's topic is antibiotics and probiotics. Okay, first of all, Lynette, you're seeing people coming into My Remedy, into your health clinic, and they're seeing some really common signs and symptoms. They've been on antibiotics. What are they usually fighting in that instance if they've been prescribed? What are you seeing?
So that's usually when they're at the point where they can't fight the infection anymore. So they may have a strep throat or a skin infection or a cold that's really gone to nasty green sinus.
Oh, we don't like that.
Yeah, they're really sick and it's time to do something about it, particularly if they haven't had access to antivirals or antibacterials through our clinic. That's usually the first place someone will start. But the key is when they say, it got rid of it and then 2 weeks later I got it again, or the next thing and the next thing, and then we see, and now I've got a gut problem.
So common, and I'm seeing this more and more on social media, and a lot of people I know feel like their immune system is really compromised at the moment, so they can't seem to get rid of that cough or cold, or they're having bloated stomachs all the time and diarrhea. Look, if that sounds like you or somebody in your family, we'd love you to tag them into this post, share their name or send them this link in their timeline or as a personal message, because we really want to help share health education to as many people as possible so that people have choices when it comes to looking after their health. One thing we do need to let you know before we delve into the topic is the fact that neither of us are in a position, and particularly not me because I'm not a registered naturopath, to help to prescribe any products or basically do any sort of diagnosis while we're live tonight. This is our disclaimer. So this show isn't designed to diagnose or treat or cure any illness. In fact, it's more to really open up your mind to other options when it comes to your health. And in any case where you think your health might be compromised or you might be in a really serious position, please do consult your healthcare professional, whether it's a naturopath, a homeopath, maybe your chiropractor or your GP. Just make sure you have a chat to them. Right, so we're talking about antibiotics and probiotics. Antibiotics, my understanding is they're designed to help fight bacterial infection, not viral.
Yes, so they are antibacterial medication, and being antibacterial doesn't make them a health tonic either. It doesn't make you well. It fights and destroys a bacterial infection. So it's not antiviral, it's not antifungal.
So what's the difference then between a viral infection and a bacterial? How can, say, a GP or a health professional know the difference?
Usually through blood tests, so we're going to see more neutrophils or more lymphocytes, depending on which cell is reacting to, whether it's bacterial or whether it's viral. Fungal's another one, because you can have it's a neutrophil response, which looks like it can be bacterial. And sometimes they'll do a swab. That's
amazing. I know a lot of people I've been speaking to lately have gone to the doctors, as an example, and have said, I've got all these symptoms, and the doctors have said, well, it could be viral, it could be bacterial, here's some antibiotics just in case. Is there a problem with our health if we end up taking the antibiotics? Can it compromise our health?
I think,
but we don't need it?
Well, from my experience as a naturopath over the years, I have to say yes, and I need to be cautious about that, because I believe that antibacterials and antibiotics really have their place. And I use antibacterial and antimicrobial herbs also, but with equal care as I would suggest an antibiotic. So I think if you've got a bacterial infection and your body can't get on top of it, then an antibiotic is a really good idea. I think if you've got, if your doctor is saying, I can't give you an antibiotic, there's nothing more I can do, then you need to come and see someone like me or my team, because antivirals are brilliant, and we've got things like mushrooms and other things,
Wow.
even probiotics, not just for reducing and fixing up the damage, but actually as a preventative.
Okay, so people go to a healthcare professional to get their antibiotics. So why is it that some people seem to get sick after they've taken them?
Well, I think the best way to explain it is with my props here.
I was going to say, you've got some props here to show us. What's this about?
Okay, this is a simple way of explaining our gut and its response. So a healthy gut is like a nice clean sponge.
Right.
And you know, sometimes you get a sponge and it says antibacterial, so it won't get manky.
Yep.
And then it still gets manky.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty gross looking.
Yeah, so that can come about by washing it and getting rid of the antibacterial treatment that's in there.
Right.
So then it isn't antibacterial anymore. In fact, it's actually quite harmful. I'm not even going to touch it.
I wouldn't.
Even with the tongs.
Yep.
So that could make you sick. It's the same with our gut. So we start usually with a really healthy microbiome or flora in our gut, which is there to protect us. So there's a good balance of good and bad bacteria, and when a pathogen or a bug comes in, it slurps it all up and it's antibacterial and it gets rid of it. But if we overtreat our gut, so we start giving too many antibiotics or antimicrobials, we're not only breaking down the good or the bad bacteria, we also can break down the good bacteria.
So my understanding is it's about having a perfect balance within the gut, which is going to serve your health?
That's right. So we need to certainly get rid of the overabundance of the bad bacteria, but not at the expense of the good. So once we've finished the antibacterials or the antibiotics, it's really about replacing that good protection back into our sponge so it can work properly again.
Got it. Excellent. I understand. I know that a lot of people have messaged me as well in private conversations saying that they've ended up with other side effects, whether it might be bloating, even an overgrowth of, say, candida or something like that as an after effect. Now, if you have been taking antibiotics and you might be concerned, we've got a few symptoms to show you that may be of interest to you to have a look. So 7 signs that your gut bacteria might be slightly out of whack. Digestive issues. This is pretty common, Lynette?
Yeah, it is. So people will really find that discomfort, bloating, sometimes constipation, sometimes diarrhea, and often sugar cravings also with the digestive issues.
Excellent. I just noticed a message come in from Corinne Horan. Hello, beautiful lady. She said, love your hair, babe. Forget the bacteria. I know, right? We forget bacteria all the time. It's no good. But hello to you. I hope you're doing well, honey. Okay, so one of the other signs that the gut may not be working because it may be compromised is a few mental issues there.
We've talked about that in other shows with the gut-brain connection, where if you've got inflammation at the gut, there can be issues. Our brain doesn't feel inflammation, but it can it can come across as depression or foggy. People say, "Oh, I'm so foggy." So
absolutely,
that's what we're looking at there.
And then one of the things that we see there is that the vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Well, obviously, if the gut isn't working properly, it won't absorb all those valuable nutrients.
That's right.
That we require for optimal living. Is that right?
That's right. It makes it harder to absorb what we need if there's dysfunction there.
Now, you mentioned earlier that some people who just get off antibiotics and then they come back again because they need more, and then they get off it and then they come back because they need more. Is that overuse of antibiotics?
That can be. I mean, sometimes we can see that in children with one use of antibiotics. It's gone in there and it's wiped out an entire species of bacteria which we can't get back. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 goes for people. But when people say, look, I'm sick and I'm sick and I'm sick, these antibiotics aren't working, they are still breaking down bacteria, but they're not creating health. They're not recreating that gut flora.
And then some other common symptoms that we have discussed before, things to do with the chronic unmanaged stress, skin problems, acne and eczema. And then, of course, we've talked extensively about autoimmune diseases. So these are all signs, perhaps, that long-term use of antibiotics may be compromising health?
It may be antibiotics, it may be other causes. Even just long-term stress can cause, such damage. Lack of diversity in the diet is a really big problem. So people that eat either a very poor diet or they eat such a strict diet that they're getting whole food groups out. So these are all things where all about getting maximum diversity in our gut flora, maximum species of bacteria.
Right.
So it's not just antibiotics, but antibiotics certainly have a major impact.
So when it comes to restoring your gut health, if you have been going through a cycle of antibiotics, we all have heard in media about the effects of probiotics in our diet, but there's also prebiotics. Is there a difference between probiotics and prebiotics? What's the difference there?
Prebiotics getting ready, so it's like a fiber. So if you think about your gut, it's almost like prebiotics, like giving it branches for the probiotics to land on, because they need to have time to make colonies. They need to stick around a little while. So prebiotics are good foods that set the gut up for those probiotics.
And then the probiotics come in and tidy everything up and restore the balance?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, we have a list. If you're wanting to do, as Lynette said, and eat a more biodiverse diet, you can do that to get yourself started by adding particular foods into your diet. Here's a great list for you. So we've got probiotic foods. Everybody knows about things like yogurt, kefir. I hope I said that right.
Yes.
Buttermilk. I was really surprised at that. Creme fraiche, love it. Miso, I have all the time, love it. And it comes into the fermented foods. Now, I'm not great with things like sauerkraut, kombucha, and kimchi. Love pickles, though I can't have a lot of them. I get a little gassy. Is that normal?
That can be really common. So what we're really looking at there is the degree of dysfunction at the gut. So sometimes we need to actually go in there and get you ready for prebiotics and then probiotics. And that's where we say, look, if you can have a little bit of kefir and have some fermented foods and some prebiotics, and your gut just feels great, awesome, you've done it. But a lot of people, it makes them worse. And that's where I'd say get in and see a naturopath and actually find out what you need to do. Like, you'll need to do some gut restoration. You might need some antimicrobials, some herbs to actually break down, bad bacteria and fungus and all sorts of things. And then we get about restoring the gut, rebuilding the wall, putting the prebiotic goods in there, so either through a supplement or through foods to give the gut somewhere for all the probiotics to land, and then we put those probiotics in right at the end.
That sounds amazing. Now, for most of you out there, if you're hearing that for the first time and you're thinking, well, I was just going to have a yogurt smoothie with lots of berries to help my gut health, that's a great place to start. But for those of you who that's not enough, it may be time to consult a healthcare professional. So one of the things I'd recommend, and this has been life-changing for me, is to talk to one of the team at My Remedy. They're an amazing team of naturopaths, homeopaths, hypnotherapists, and nutritionists that can really help you transform your health. I know it has worked for me firsthand, helping completely rework my entire gut and transform my health. And if that sounds like you need a little support, then perhaps it's something you can do too. The best thing to do is to head to their website, myremedy.co.nz, or you can send a message through the Facebook page that you're working on or watching the show through, I should say. Send a message and one of the team will be more than happy to help you out. Now, if you're not based here in Auckland, they do consultations over Skype, is that correct?
Yes, we can.
Absolutely. And through those consultations, they can listen to what's going on with you and perhaps create a pathway for you on how you can find your way back to optimal health. So, today's takeaway from the session, what would you recommend?
I'd say if you have ever been on antibiotics and not well since, or if you're on them now, please get some really good probiotics. Get them from the pharmacy or health store or from someone like us, and take them a good couple of hours away from your antibiotics. Start that restoration as soon as you possibly can and take them for the entire course of the probiotic bottle. So at least 30 days, and at bedtime is the best time.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys for watching. And remember, if you've got friends or family that haven't been having a happy gut more recently, or they've been on a course of antibiotics, please share this video with them, because we believe more love, more healing. I'm Monique Bradley. This is the Your Fix TV studio. A big thanks to Pete Ward, our producer and director. He's the online guy. We're going to see you guys next time. I'm Monique Bradley, Lynette Hill. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.